So, good morning. Joe just reminded us of some of the craziness, and we certainly are living in challenging times. And there's a lot of stress, a lot of worry, a lot of uncertainty. And so, I wanted to talk this morning about refuge in the Sangha, and the importance of taking refuge in the Sangha during challenging times. You remember that in Buddhism, taking refuge in the Sangha is one of the three jewels, alongside with the Buddha, the Dharma. And it's generally believed that the Buddha considered the Sangha to be the foundational jewel, if not the most important one. The story is that his attendant asked him, how are, I'm going to get this wrong, but are spiritual friends important? He said they're the most important in terms of the path. So the Sangha, broadly defined as a community of practitioners dedicated to walking this path, focused on wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness, and how important it is as a vital refuge in times of hardship and upheaval and cultural craziness. So today, as we mark an era marked by profound political divisions, environmental crises, racial injustice, uncertainties, the importance of seeking refuge in the Sangha, I think, has never been clearer. Sangha provides a sanctuary for growth, a source of collective wisdom, and a foundation for meaningful action rooted in compassion. And in Buddhism, refuge doesn't mean escaping from the world. It doesn't mean going and hiding in a cave somewhere. It means finding a place of support and clarity that allows us to respond skillfully to life's challenges. And it's really better accomplished in community. And the Sangha is this place of refuge, a community where we come together with a shared commitment to practice the teachings, to lessen our suffering, and to benefit from the learning that comes from sharing how each of us is confronting the challenges. Unlike the isolation and alienation that dominates so much of our modern life, Sangha really fosters connection and interdependence. Being in a community like a Sangha, and we don't have, a corner on the market, but Sangha is one important form of community that reminds us we are not alone as we face the daily struggles of our modern times. When political strife, for instance, creates fear and division, when environmental degradation threatens the planet, and when racial injustices, sow pain and discord, it can feel overwhelming to face these challenges alone. And Sangha offers us space to share these burdens, to process our suffering collectively, and to find some strength in unity. It's really important to know that we're together and dealing with all the stuff that's going on. In Sangha, we engage in practices of mindfulness, right speech, and compassion that help us cultivate, wisdom and perspective about what's going on, help us create spaciousness and resilience, even with all the external turmoil. The Sangha is not merely just a group of individuals, it's a living body of wisdom, it's collective wisdom. Each member of our community, regardless of our level of practice, contributes by his or her presence to the collective understanding of the Dharma, because we all come at it differently through our own lens, and we can share some wisdom and perspective with each other. And this shared wisdom becomes a beacon during dark times. It offers practical tools to navigate suffering and uncertainty. And it also, again, gives that sense of connection and community. For example, in the face of political discord, it helps us practice patience. It reminds us to engage in skillful dialogue rather than with reactivity, rather than with anger or hatred. When environmental destruction threatens the balance of life, Sangha reminds us of the interconnectedness of all beings and the importance of protecting that and protecting the planet on which we live. It inspires us to act with care and responsibility. It reminds us to act with care and responsibility. And perhaps most importantly, Sangha reminds us and embodies the principle of non-harming. So within this community, we commit to resolving conflicts peacefully. We respect diversity. We create a safe space for all voices. This becomes particularly vital in addressing racial and social injustice. And we take that outside of Sangha. We try to bring that way of facing these challenges. When we engage in deep listening and compassionate action, the Sangha becomes a microcosm for the world we wish to create, the world we want to contribute to in a positive way, one that is rooted in equity, understanding, and kindness. Now, let me be clear. Taking refuge in Sangha is not a passive act. It's not just showing up and just, hanging out. It's an active commitment to practicing and embodying the Dharma in our daily lives, not just when we're together, but as we leave and go out and interact in the world. Because in these challenging times, Sangha inspires us to move beyond despair, which is really a place we can get bogged down, and into compassionate action. And when I come here and we share, it really lifts me out of despair when I get sort of bogged down in all that's going on in the world. When environmental crises lead us to feelings of helplessness, Sangha reminds us that every small action matters. Together we promote and advocate for policies that protect the earth, for living in harmony with nature. And we can model that and exhibit that when we go out into the world. Likewise, in addressing racial and social inequalities, the Sangha encourages us to confront our own biases, to cultivate empathy, to work toward justice, and again, take that out into the world. Now, this work is not easy, but within the supportive context of the Sangha, it's easier to find the courage to face our discomfort, to face our despair, and to grow spiritually. When we practice loving kindness, metta, and compassion, Sangha empowers us to become agents of change in the world. While the Sangha supports us in addressing external challenges, it also plays a crucial role in our inner transformation. Because we learn from each other, we learn how to respond differently. Political upheaval, environmental crises, social injustice often trigger fear, anger, and despair within us. It's very easy to get discouraged. It's very easy to feel hopeless. And the problem is these emotions, if left unchecked, cloud our judgment. They lead us to reactivity and other forms of harmful action. But Sangha provides a place where we can share, where we can practice mindfulness, where we can share a spacious perspective with each other, a place to observe these emotions without being consumed by them, and a place to cultivate equanimity. A balanced mind, equanimity is about creating a balanced mind that remains steady amidst the chaos in which we're living. Inner stability enables us to respond to challenges with clarity and compassion rather than reactivity. Look around at all the reactivity in our world. We don't have to go there. We can model a different way of responding to those that we come into contact with. Because as we transform our inner world, we naturally influence the outer world. It's a ripple effect, of greater understanding, of greater skillful responding. In a world that's fraught with division, Sangha serves as a reminder of our shared humanity. It's not about boundaries of race or nationality or political affiliation. It's a vision of unity rooted in the Buddhist teachings. When we take refuge in the Sangha, we commit to building a community that reflects the values that we wish to see in the world. These values of compassion, justice, and the acknowledgement of interdependence. The Sangha also reminds us that we are not powerless. Together we address collectively the roots of suffering, whether that's stemming from any of the three poisons of greed, hatred, and ignorance. When we support one another by coming together here, we strengthen our collective capacity to create meaningful change. So taking refuge in the Sangha is an act of hope and courage in the face of today's challenges. It is a commitment to living the Dharma not only for our own benefit, but for the benefit of all beings. Within the Sangha, we find a refuge that nurtures inner transformation as well as compassionate action in the world. It reminds us that even in these dark times, we are not alone. We have a unity. Human beings, we have a collective to come together where we face the challenges, of political strife, environmental crisis, social injustice, with wisdom, with resilience, and unshakable commitment to this path. We affirm our interconnectedness and our capacity to create a better world. One step, one breath, one compassionate act at a time. This is why community in the form of Sangha is so important. So that's a little bit about taking refuge in the Sangha during these challenging times.